Okay, so here's my 2014 Kodiak 450 with power steering. So what I'm doing to it today, it still has the factory tires there, is I am putting on this high lifter 2-inch lift kit. It's you can see there, Yamaha 450i Grizzly lift kit instructions. It's the one meant for power steering. I don't know if there's a difference with the other ones, but I wasn't going to do a video because there's videos on YouTube. But when I started reading the instructions here, like here they just show take off the shock, here they show put the bracket on, here they show put the shock in the bracket, and there's nothing to it. Well, I will tell you, I was doing my best to refrain from using some very foul language to get this part of the shock up into this bracket. The shock comes down to about here, and it takes some prying and persuading to get it up in there. So my suspension is bottomed right out. There is no down travel in it at all. So this is on the second softest setting, so I think I'm going to move them over to here, be on the softest setting. And another thing is I've got these plastics here. I guess they're to protect the boots, the CV joint boots, or whatever you call them. Here's one here. There was plastic under here too, but it's been since tore off. But I have to cut these because, as you can see right there, it's hitting and it can't turn. So I cut the other side, so I got to cut this side from about right here down like that. And the brake lines were too tight now. This is where the little clamp here normally sits right in this plastic. Let's see if I can get it right there, in that plastic groove or rubber, whatever it is. I don't know where my thumb is, so I moved it on the other side of it to pull it down a bit so I get a little more slack here to be able to steer, turn, because it couldn't turn before, I noticed on the other side. So with that, I have to change this yet, whatever you call it, tie rod. They send new ones. This is what the new one looks like. It's a drop down one. I've got the other new one here. I want to change that yet. See, this side I had to move the brake line too, so at least now this side can steer. Before the brake line was binding and it couldn't steer. Here's the other tie rod. Got the drop down. So I got to change that yet. And cut the plastic. And the front should be ready. I'm not putting on these factory tires. I've got another 450 Yamaha with 26-inch, what are these tires called? Mud lights, I believe. So I'm going to put these tires on it just to make it look different. I was going to put the lift on this quad. This is an 07, but for some reason it has a different number. So I didn't want to fool around. I thought I'll put it on that one, because that's the one I did order it for. But I'm going to put these tires on there. So I'll get the front put together, and then we'll have a look at the back and see if there's anything different or anything that's a little more complicated than the instructions say. It'll look different with those other tires on it, but it is quite a difference. Those A-arms are way down now at the bottom. Before they weren't near that low. So I'll do a little more recording as I go on with this project. Okay, so I got this other front side done. I had to trim this plastic right here. Right here's the piece I trimmed off. I did a little better job trimming this side than the other side. pulled the brake line out. Good thing there is enough slack. But since it's bottomed right out, it sure is stiff steering. Like, man, that is stiff. I should start it up and see if the power steering will make that turn any easier. Yeah, a little easier. Maybe when we get some weight on there, it'll push it up a bit and won't be quite so hard steering. But I'm gonna still move these shock settings or strut settings, whatever you want to call them, over to this notch to get it on the easiest one, the softest one. So I'll do that and get those tires on. We'll have a look at it and then start on the back. Well, this is a little disappointing. I can't put these wider tires from the other quad on this one. I guess with this lift now, see, it's sitting right there. So the same small tires got to go up back on. Because those ones are 10s on the front and the originals are only 8. See, these 10s just clear there. But when you put a lift on, they don't clear anymore. So yeah, I guess I got to take this little guy off and put it back on there. Look funny, great big high quad and little tiny tires. Well, I'll have to get some spacers after now. Okay, so we're working on the back of this 2014 Kodiak 450. This kit is for the Grizzly 450. This is Yamaha Grizzly 450. But the Grizzly is the US quad and the Kodiak is the Canadian quad. Is the only difference is the name as far as I can tell. And it is the someplace I read this is the 01 kit. So this is the 2014 kit. But now the trouble I'm having is I took off the back shock top mount like it says, and this little extender is supposed to go on this way. Well, it doesn't fit. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's the same width as the mount. I get the shock in the way so you can see, but it doesn't go on because it's the same width the mount is. So I tapped the mount, sorry for my poor camera, but I tapped the mount tabs together a bit to try and get this to slide over. But then, there we go, the bushing that's supposed to go between the mount tabs won't go in. So I got to spread the mount tabs out to get this in. So the bushing is right. Sorry again for the bushing's right, but the tab is too narrow. So I don't know how I'm going to spread this because it's a box. Not a clue. I'm going to try and spread it a little bit somehow. So I got to spread those tabs I bent together a bit to get the bushing in and try and spread this a bit. See what happens. But yeah, it's not going together too smoothly. There's the instructions for the back. Just take the top mount, shock mount bolt out and slide that extension on and bolt it in place. Pretty simple instructions, but it's not happening too simply. And there's supposed to be the final look of it. So back at it. Okay, so we're back at this. I tapped the tabs back enough just to get the bushing in there. It's tight. I had to tap it in there. It stays there on its own. And I where are we here? I tapped here and here to spread this apart because these were kind of bowed up, these ends. There are these sides where my thumb and finger are tapping. So I hammered them a bit, and it seems like I got it spread enough to start. So I'm gonna tap that in there and get the bolt in, and we should be good. But a little modifications, a little modifying, tapping anyway. So I'll get that bolted on, and then we'll see how much fun it is to get this strut back in there. Alright, so we got that top bracket on. But this is what I mean. I can't hold the camera and do it, but you push this down all the way. It's the same as the front. The shock just doesn't drop in there. So it's another pry job. Get it pried in there and put that bolt in. So I was thinking that it was just gonna drop down and you could put the bolt in, but they don't work that way. So I'll get it pried in and the bolt in and do the other side, and we'll have a look at it when it's done. If there's any other surprises, I don't think there should be, I'll turn it back on. Okay, so we're on the back again, this time on the other side, and it was the same thing with this side. You have to tap this, the bike mounts or whatever you call this, together so the bushing just fits in there tight, like the bushing will stay in there by itself. And then you have to spread this as much as you can, and then you still have to tap it on. It still fits tight on there, so it just doesn't slide on. But it's on, and I'll get the bolt in. One thing I will say is the shock, the back shock, goes on a lot easier than the front shock did. You can push this down far enough to get it in there and line it up with a little lining bar and get the bolt in. Quite a bit easier than the front was. So that is a plus, I guess. We'll get the bolts in there and put the wheels on. Kinda shitty my bigger tires in the fit, but it is what it is. We'll get those ones back on, the original tires, and have a look at it. Alright, well, I don't know who noticed, but I have that on backwards. There's the way it's supposed to be, and there's the way I have that. I ought to take it off and flip it around and tap it back on. So it does help if you put things on the right way. Yes, it does. Alright, so there it is. Finished product. It definitely does have more ground clearance. Not exactly sure how much there is there, but there is quite a bit, more than there was. Especially from this way, you can sure tell it sits up higher. The other one is gone right now, or I would have parked it beside it. So you can see what a stock one with 26-inch tires. And this one, this clearance difference. This one's got 25-inch tires. So it's done. Get some new tires for this one later on this year. Need spacers if I want to put 10s in front though. 2014 Kodiak 450 with power steering and a 2-inch high lifter lift kit. I go bear hunting, that's the people to call. That was the reason for this lift kit. Getting stuck going into bear camp. I have a 400 Arctic Cat quad, and it's quite a bit higher, and it goes in no problem. And these Yamahas get hung up. So this should solve some of the problem of being hung up. Okay, thanks for watching.